Good to see you too. Guys, welcome on Real Talk with Keith Smith. My name is Jerry Miller. Thank you kindly for joining us. A chilly Friday, fall is in the air, and good Friday morning to you. A lot we're going to cover on the broadcast, including, ladies and gentlemen, updated data. The Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors has released their third quarter report. Ladies and gentlemen, on Real Talk with Keith Smith, we have data that's up to the minute, including data that's up to today's standards. No shade on Carr. I'm just saying Real Talk with Keith Smith is keeping things extremely timely on this talk show. Keith Smith's cringing over there. I don't have to cringe, really. That's the beautiful thing about doing what I want, where I have no ties to anyone, and I can do what I want when I want, however I want.
So how does your wife feel about that?
She knows who she married.
There you go.
She knows who she's married. I think she's enjoying yoga right now.
Oh, that's disappointing. I was hoping that she would chime in with some witty repartee.
Judah Wickauer behind the camera. Judah, why don't we go studio camera and a two-shot as we welcome a distinguished and dapper Keith Smith on set today. I really like the suit, Keith.
I have two very important meetings in Richmond this afternoon. One is business. The other one is the real important meeting. I am taking Ravenna, my 3-year-old granddaughter, out for what she calls a new dinner. So we're going to go out to Richmond to a little Italian restaurant and have a little bit of pasta, and we're going to go on a grandpa-granddaughter date. So I'm looking forward to it. So that's why I'm all decked out. It's really for her to. We're going to go out.
How old is your granddaughter?
How old?
Yeah.
Oh, that one is 3.
So a 3-year-old.
Well, technically.
Pasta sauce and a very nice suit. I like that. I like it. I think you look sharp. I sincerely mean that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've done this before, and I haven't wore it yet. If that's what you're implying. No. So, she will be 3 in January, actually. But, she called me up and says, Grandpa, I want to go on popped out, I want to go on a new date. And I went, I'm in. So that's the real reason I'm all dressed up. So back on the Greene County thing, back to what Batman and Robin and Captain America and the Jedi Knight was saying, every vote counts. And this is down to 12 votes. And this is somewhat impactful, not somewhat, this is definitely going to be impactful for housing and real estate, in my opinion. Because, Greene County, and when we get into the numbers, we'll see this. Greene County is like the rock star, the new construction rock star. Well, Greene County's got a lot on its plate, right? It's got water impoundments and water and sewer improvements. And I think everybody had thought that this one Catalano was going to win and things would kind of stay normal and move through it. But now that there's a shakeup possibly going on at Greene County Board, and it could impact, down the road projects or decisions are going to be made. It's very interesting development. We geeks that look at this didn't see this one. I know I didn't see it coming. So this is very, very interesting. When it's all over with, I would love to know why it did that. But the incumbent actually lost on election day. Got more early votes in, but lost on election day. The absentee ballots or mailed in absentee ballots are going to be called. And it's very interesting. There was 47 for that one district. For the Standardsville district, there was 47 write-in candidates, and that could make a huge difference. So again, this is why every vote matters. That's why local elections matter. But we're going to keep a track on that, and I'm sure Captain America will definitely.
Neil Williamson watching the program. He has retweeted us on Twitter. Thank you, Neil Williamson. We appreciate that. Rob Neal, Lloyd Snook, welcome to the broadcast. Richard Fox, welcome to the broadcast. Viewers and listeners, Tim Hess, Tom Powell, the founder of Toylift, Matt Neese, Kevin Yancey, welcome to the broadcast. A supervisor from Albemarle County, Nelson County on the show, and Louisa County on the show right now. Data is the topic today.
Big data day.
Your data is more up-to-date than the CAR third quarter report that's driven the news cycle this week. And the CAR third quarter report suggests an extremely softening real estate market. That's the headlines legacy media are running with the CAR third quarter report. I hope you know that.
I think that's an easy, low-hanging fruit statement to make. I think if you looked at it maybe aggregately, you could do that, but one needs to. That's why I love what we do so much. This long format makes the difference, right? If you read it, and looked at it at a glance, you would think that. I don't agree with that. I think certain jurisdictions might be softening, and I actually took a deeper dive into Charlottesville. We've been having this conversation, and I have a better read on what the data's telling me on that, on why it dropped. But softening to what? Softening from double-digit increase or back to normal?
Multiple media outlets have run that median values are down.
Yeah, that's simply not true. That's inaccurate. So the only median that is down is the city of Charlottesville.
In fact, I'll throw some of the headlines to you with legacy media here. I also heard Michael Guthrie on local radio talking about median values across the CAR footprint being down roughly just under 1%.
So you want to do it? You want to do the numbers? Well, I'll just tell you what the numbers are now. Where there may be a difference.
Well, yeah, because you're using single-family detached housing only.
Only that.
Yeah.
So when you start, and that's where I think it's an unfair analysis, right? Because only 4 out of the 6 counties have townhomes, and some of the counties have minimal data numbers. Only 3 out of the 6 have condominiums. So all 6 have detaches.
That's why you go single-family detached as the barometer. And this is the headline from CVille Right Now, who's becoming a very reputable news source here. The headline released within the last 48 hours. For the first time since the pandemic, housing prices decreased in the area. This is the first few paragraphs. For the first time since 2019, the median home sales price in the footprint of the Charlottesville Area Association of Realtors has decreased, according to the 2025 Q3 housing market report released by CAR on Tuesday. Though the percentage is small, the number is significant, according to Association President Josh White. Quote, the median sales price dipped down by about 1%, Josh White said in an interview. So only about $5,000 from a year ago, but that's for the whole region, and we have not seen any kind of dip like this since 2019, end quote, Josh White, CAR president.
When I think the world of Josh, and I respect what he's saying, but you just can't look at this thing globally, right? So if we would probably roll in the attached...
We should get Josh White on the show.
I would love to get Josh on, but Josh is a little bit busy kind of rotating off the board. If you take a look at single-family detached, that's what most people buy. That is usually the largest volume. And what I wanted to do was look at each jurisdiction side by side. Where are we standing on single detached homes as far as value? And that goes, and every jurisdiction is up. So Albemarle County median price was up by 4%. Sales was up by 4%. City of Charlottesville now was up by 6%, but down by 4% in value. And we'll talk a little bit more about why. Fluvanna County was up 6% in sales, up 7% in value year over year. Greene County was up 19% in sales and 5% in sales. Louisa County was down 3% sales, but up in 5% in value. And that is my last county that I have in it. I think if I lumped everything together, and I've done it, yeah, it probably matches that number. But that's not a fair assessment of the market. Each market is a little bit different, and each micro market matters. So, with my due respect to Josh White, I think to do a global statement like that would be disingenuous to what the actual market is doing. Again, thinking about that, but you're going to push back a little bit, I'm sure.
I'm not. The extent of my pushback is the CAR third quarter report.
Yeah.
That's the extent of, I read data. That's the extent of what I do. I respect your report. I understand that your report is more timely. I understand that your report is more updated. And I also understand that data can be interpreted in a number of ways depending how that data is presented.
Sure.
All data can be used to tell a certain story.
100%.
But I'm just passing along to the viewers and listeners what is in print, radio, and television right now. Sean Tubbs is reporting it. CVille Right Now is reporting it. Daily Progress is reporting it. NBC 29 is reporting it. CBS 19 is reporting it.
Yeah. And good for them.
This is why people watch the I Love CVille Network here, because of the long-form content.
Yeah. So, again, first of all, it's 5 weeks late. That's number one. Number two, it's not internal data. Actually, VAR does the numbers. Actually, CAR doesn't do the numbers based on my understanding on it. But I know for a fact they're at least 5 weeks late. This is the data I have is ending as of 10/31 in it. And again, I'm cherry picking single-family detached for a very specific reason. And because it gives all the counties a level playing field on it. We can surely take a look into the mass numbers if you want, but with the exception of the city of Charlottesville, single-family detached is going up.
And the city of Charlottesville, this was a slight point of friction and contention, slight, on the superhero edition of Real Talk with Keith Smith last year. Neil and I pushed back on each other a little bit when it came to real estate values being down in the city of Charlottesville.
And the Jedi Knight pushed back a little bit on me.
Woody Fincham certainly pushed back on it.
Pushed back on me, which caused me to take a look into a deeper understanding of why that negative 4%. And by the way, again, I'm just trying to keep things consistent, right? So we can consistently look at the data. That number was -6, right? So we're going in the right direction, right? We're not going
-6 to -4.
-6 -4. But when I took a deeper dive into the numbers, why the city's median price dropped, first of all, there were much smaller homes sold versus 2025. Several big renovation homes sold in 2024. I literally went into each one of the 246-ish plus or minus transactions and looked at each one of them because I wanted to see why this negative 4% in single-family detached was happening. Demand actually increased, right? Buyers only kind of bought what was available, and to Woody's point, the market is smaller, the medium is smaller, it's kind of difficult to do this. But at the end of the day, people just didn't put the bigger valued homes on the market in 2025 as there was in 2024. Now, the reason why is a difference, that could be a whole different debate, whole different conversation. But just taking a look at what hit the market in 2024 and what hit the market in 2025, what was listed, what went pending, and what went sold, the what mattered, right? What was sold, which was exactly the point Woody, the Jedi Knight, was trying to make to me. So that's what forced me to take a closer look.
And I pushed back on Woody, the Jedi Knight, by saying, I understand what you're saying, Woody, the Jedi Knight, but when the sales tax is down, when the tourism tax is down, when the meals tax is down, when the foot traffic is down, that compounds the storyline. And I follow the real estate market specifically in one corridor extremely closely. I'm talking 4 to 5 times a day. On the back end of the MLS and on the front end of the MLS. And it's from the Lewis Mountain neighborhood to the 240-250 split on Ivy Road. Lewis Mountain, Bel Air, Ednam Forest, Farmington, Wesley, any of the stuff on Garth Road, any of the stuff on Owensville, any of the stuff on Old Ballard. I'm hyper-focused on this little, call it 5-6 mile area. And what I've seen in the calendar year of 2025 from Lewis Mountain to the 240-250 split, Bel Air, Lewis Mountain, Farmington, Ednam Forest, Old Ballard, listings are taking longer to sell. There's a house that just went under contract in Waverly after a price cut. It went from, I believe it was 1595 or 1495. It came out the gate at 1495. Price cut to 1395. Literally went under contract within the last 48 to 72 hours. I would bet, if my instinct is right and my instinct is proven to be correct, that this is going to sell in the low 1.3s to the high 1.2s. And that home in the early part of 2025 would have had a multiple offer scenario and would have traded above list. And that home had a price cut and took a significant period of time to sell. There's homes in Bel Air, which is Tony Posh, fabulously located, that have gone on market, off market, back on market. Sharon Donovan has one.
So you're looking at the luxury market, right? So
I'm not even sure 1395, 1.4 is luxury anymore.
Anything north of 1 million, we wouldn't call luxury. Luxury, I think, really has a 2 in front of it.
Yeah, I think luxury is now 2 million plus. And there's homes in that area that are 2 million plus that need considerable work. Considerable work.
But when you have, a median sales price of 725, right? Million is just a little bit of, that million is a psychological number for buyers and sellers to go over. We can make it 1.5, we can make it $2 million. But when I took a look because I knew this was going to come up, I wanted to look at the sale to list ratio in each one of the counties. So what the price home listed for in 2025, again, single family detached, and what it's sold for and what the ratio is. In Albemarle County, it's almost 100%. It's 99.76%. So the homes that were listed, and back to this conversation, this blurb, this one-liner, right? I love it. It's great. But unless you take a deeper dive into this stuff, that's really hard to predict.
Well, that should be presented differently than by the association.
I don't have I'm not connected to that.
Can I make that comment?
You can say whatever you want.
Okay.
I mean,
that should be presented differently by the association.
Yeah, look, they got to do what they got to do. I'm looking at this from, I get a phone call from somebody, or an agent gets a phone call, and they want to look at data or want to look at numbers to go ahead and help somebody either buy or sell. This is what they're going to look at, right? And that, it's. And I'm not going to negatively say anything or positively one way or other. That's the data they've got. It's the 5 weeks they have. This is the information they feel is to promote. But I can tell you, single-family detached, Albemarle County, we're up 4% in value. Period. This is very, very simple math to go ahead and do.
President of the Free Enterprise Forum's got comments. Finish your thoughts. I'll get to the Free Enterprise Forum president.
I'm sure he does.
Which I'll push back on the president of the Free Enterprise Forum's comments here.
Well, he sent me a text, and I needed to clarify the Greene County conversation is only about the Standardsville district, not about Greene County on whole. It's specifically to one seat and one vote. But look, just before you do that, just to finish the Albemarle County thing, because let's face it, Albemarle County is the 10-ton elephant in the room as far as value goes. They've got roughly 784 units have sold. New construction is single-family detached is up by 15%. Existings are up by 3%. Primaries on the main level, they take about 7 days to sell. HOAs are sell 5 days faster. The bottom line is Albemarle County will be the premium county, both on the new construction level and that's where the premium buyer is going to go. The ones that are not, us poor mortals, are going to be pushing out to the outer counties, which is green. So I'll let you go ahead and push back on from
viewers and listeners. Let us know your comments. Put them in the feed. We'll relay them live on air. If you'd like comments, dictate the pace and tempo of the show. Put them in the feed. I'll relay them live on air. Michael Guthrie, I would love to hear thoughts. I listened to you this morning on the morning show. Love to hear your thoughts on this discussion. Joanne Mackey, the Queen of Keswick, one of the Queens of Keswick. Olivia Branch also has that title. Joanne Mackey, the Queen of Glenmore. Rob Neal would love to hear your thoughts, Rob Neal. You're in the game here. Lloyd Snook would love to hear some thoughts from you. Tim Hass, founder of Toy Lift, Tom Powell, watching the program right now. You have a boatload of realtors all over the feed right now.
Greene County.
A boatload.
Thank you. Greene County sale to list ratio is over 100%. 100.69%.
Neil Williamson has this comment. I promised Neil that he was on deck. I respect Neil tremendously. We are in a line with everything, Neil and I, except for one major storyline, one major thing, and that's housing. And that's the creation of new housing before infrastructure is in place. And I respect Neil's stance. I just disagree with it. That's my words. Okay? I don't think we prioritize housing above infrastructure.
Well, first of all, I'll just get this out there. It's why what we do is so important, right? We can sit down and have a conversation.
100%. I don't mind disagreeing with anybody.
And have not agree on a topic, and go out and have a cocktail.
Yeah, that's the way it should
be. Yeah, and
Williamson says this: are you saying housing is becoming more affordable in Charlottesville? Would that not go against Miller's philosophy on the new zoning ordinance? Could I respond to that? Or you want to respond to that?
You can respond to it. I'm going to clarify what I'm saying because there's a reason why. I'll let you answer it. There's a very specific reason why prices have went down, and I don't think it has anything to do with affordability. It has something to do with what was hitting the market in 2024 versus what hit the market and sold. So what's happening is in 2024, there were some higher end units to Woody's.
In Charlottesville specifically. Jeff Gaffney, jump in the discussion here.
This is specifically to Charlottesville.
Where specifically in Charlottesville were the higher end units hitting?
I got a 20-page spreadsheet. I have to pull them out. The point is that's what happened. There was more sales on the higher end side in 2024 that turned out to be homes that were fully renovated that just didn't trade in 2025. That's just what the numbers are saying. The why is a whole different animal. But the sales are up. The sales are up in the Charlottesville, the volume of sales, by 6%. So there's been more transactions. So what's happening is the lower end, this is what Woody was trying to beat into my little head. There was more units transpiring at the lower level in 2025 versus 2024, which is making this number look like.
See,
I'm just telling you what the numbers say.
I get that, and I don't completely buy that.
Well,
I don't completely buy that because the sales tax collection is down, the meals tax collection is down.
But that's got nothing to do with sales.
The lodging tax collection is down. The foot traffic on downtown Charlottesville is down. That has to do with sales. You get people to the downtown mall, they fall in love with Charlottesville, they want to buy a house here. Like, if all the other levers the KPIs are down, it's not something just tied to more expensive homes sold in 2024 versus 2025.
And you may be right.
And I'm very confident I'm right.
Let me get this out. You may be right, but I don't have an ability to track that. So what I do have the ability to track and look at is specifically what is sold in 2024 versus what is sold in 2025, right? And I can tell you just from a numbers perspective, that's what happened. Now, the why it happened, why higher value homes didn't go on the market in 25 versus 24, may be exactly what you're talking about. But I'm just telling you, looking at it from a strictly real estate transactional perspective, 2024, there were more high dollar units sold than in 2025. Again, that's what the Jedi was trying to tell me. Now, the why is happening. Why are people sitting on their properties and not selling it? Maybe exactly the reasons you're talking about.
Yeah.
They don't want to be on
an expensive property. Why would you list it right now? Why? And you don't have to sell it. Why would you list it right now?
And that is a whole different set of conversation. And you're right. And you might be right? Exactly. Why am I doing this? I don't want to do it now. I don't feel right. The market. This is an emotional decision. I want to take a look at what's going on with the city. Whatever it is, the simple fact of the matter is the high dollar homes did not hit the market in 25 like they did in 24. That's why there's a 4% value drop. Just a simple math thing.
If you don't have to sell your house, and you know this time, and you know in 2026 the interest rate environment is going to be different, then right now, why wouldn't you wait into a more advantageous selling period of lower rates, more buyers in the pool, more competition for the house that you need to sell?
And
furthermore, if you're living in the city of Charlottesville, who's going to want to sell your high dollar house right now when you're dealing with poor policy, you're dealing with government inefficiency, government drama, the houseless epidemic hasn't been solved yet, lodging, sales, meals taxes are all down, foot traffic's down. These are headwinds for selling.
So you call them KPIs, these are indicators, whatever it is doing on it. You also, with a conversation about this, is maybe these high dollar folks don't have to sell. They don't have, their homes may be owned free and clear.
And they're sophisticated sellers who understand economic conditions.
And they're just sitting tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I've been asked by you, by others, why is this negative number showing up?
Well,
and from a numbers perspective, if I was to go ahead and and I just didn't do this, kind of try to get it to the same similar square footage and so forth and so on, I might be able to drive that down a little bit lower.
And to Neil Williamson's question, are you saying housing in Charlottesville is becoming more affordable in Charlottesville? Would that not go against Miller's philosophy on the NZO? My philosophy on the new zoning ordinance is this zoning flexibility, this Wild West new zoning ordinance where development is encouraged because zoning is
development is not encouraged.
Yeah, zoning,
development is not encouraged.
Yeah, well,
the zoning might say it.
The whole concept of the NZO is if we make zoning more relaxed, it should encourage zoning. It should encourage developers to build. And my theory is if you make zoning relaxed, it's just going to make the dirt more opportunistic because it has more upside, which means it's going to trade at higher clips, which means when the housing stock is built on said dirt, it has to come on the market at a higher number because the dirt was purchased at a more expensive level. I do not think the numbers that Keith is talking about have anything to do with zoning, Neil. Not a single thing to do with zoning. They have the numbers. They have to do with homelessness, tourism traffic down, foot traffic down, business down. They have to do with poor policy with the government. All that is what's causing Charlottesville housing to be down. That's my take. I think the viewers and listeners know I'm right.
Yeah, okay. But that's the incidental reasons pushing the numbers down. I'm not arguing any of that. It matters, right? All this stuff matters. All I'm trying to say is we're 4% down is because less larger homes traded in 25 versus, and the percentage was much larger in 2024, versus 24. That's why that number's down. And I think you're probably going to start seeing that -4 start declining. I think if you start seeing some bigger traded homes, but we're looking at 262 sales versus nearly 800 in Albemarle County, right? 784. So this volume does make a difference. And I got into this mess a while ago. Maybe buyers just don't want to be in Charlottesville, right? They just maybe sellers know that, or sellers are just sitting tight and going, look, I'm waiting. These higher end sellers are waiting. I think these lower end, if you are in the median range or below in Charlottesville, you're going to sell. The people still want to be in Charlottesville at that price point. But the higher end stuff, I think, is going to sit. But we're spending a lot of time talking about Charlottesville, which had 262 sales.
Gary Palmer, what are your thoughts? Ray Cadell, what are your thoughts?
Fluvanna County had 317. Let's talk about that.
The Nest brokers that are watching, what are your thoughts?
Greene County had 266 sales. Let's talk about that. Louisa County had 479 sales. Let's talk about that. So we're talking about one jurisdiction that has less than 300 sales when we have other jurisdictions that are really growing and really increasing in value. And I know what you're going to say because Smith said it 100 times. What happens in Charlottesville impacts everybody around and vice versa. But, we're going to see. We're going to see what that -4 does in the beginning of next year.
Neil Williamson, I love you. I sincerely mean this. He goes, there's at least one viewer who does not agree with you, Jerry. And I respect that. Neil Williamson, that would be him. I love the man. The man is great people. He knows I respect him dearly. Tom Powell and Bill McChesney, thank you for sharing the show. Print, radio, and television that's watching this broadcast. I encourage you to go beyond the bullet points on like the second or third page of the Carr report. That was the fodder for your storyline, and consider the data that Keith has on his Facebook page. That is a much deeper dive. This comes from a direct message from an insider who is extremely in the know, that is asking for anonymity. I'm going to read his DM to you, Keith, and the viewers and listeners. Are you ready for this?
I am.
You have to keep this anonymous, Jerry. That's how he starts it. If you have resources and are informed but want to move, the current play is this. Buy now for cash or use your current house equity line. Rent out your current house for 36 months. Sell the current prior house in 36 months when many of the new high-dollar jobs have begun here. None of this does anything for affordability. That's what's happening now. And that guy would know.
Yeah. Not bad advice. Very solid advice. And that's
people who are,
and that advice. Yeah.
People who have the money in Charlottesville are not going to sell their house now.
Just going to sit tight. Just going to sit tight, or do what was recommended. Right? They're going to do, but most buyers are not in that world, or most sellers are not in that world.
Around here,
Charlottesville. Let me finish, please. Charlottesville would probably have a larger group of that.
Can you check the I Love CVille connection there? I Love CVille Facebook. Go ahead, Keith.
So Charlottesville would have a higher concentration. Some of the neighborhoods you listed in Albemarle County would have a higher concentration of that. But by and far, the average buyer and seller is not in that range, right? Henceforth, why the median price is a certain number. They're not this 1, 2, 1, 5, 1, 3 market in it. I'm always of the opinion in Charlottesville we are not going to get any affordability move. I think the market is driving what's going on, who wants to sell, who doesn't want to sell. But unless they work on the back end of the zoning ordinance and on the subdivision side, we're just not going to see any more units being built. So that is my assessment of that.
All right, let me ask you this. Anything that's going under contract now, does it close in 2025? You'd have to hurry your closing through, right?
Yeah, you can make it happen. It's got to.
What do you have, a week left?
So you got pretty much discount the last week of November.
That's what I'm saying, and the last week of December.
And then if you're not closed by mid-December, so the last week of November, you can, it's Thanksgiving week, not too much happens. And if you write a contract now, you could conceivably, I've got a couple contracts we just wrote that'll close before the end of the year.
Okay, let me ask you this question. What's the threshold here? If the home does not get under contract by a week from today, November 14th, is it going to close in 2025?
Yes, maybe no, yes.
Okay, what's the normal threshold?
Normal is about 30, 45 days.
Okay.
If it's a cash deal, obviously,
that's different.
You can close that in 2 weeks, and the biggest struggle on that is going to be getting, if you're smart, you're going to get
home inspection. Yeah.
And then title work, and if you're really smart, you hire Woody to come in and do an appraisal just to make sure you're not over.
Fincham Associates is the best of the game. Woody Fincham and Associates. That's who you hire. So this is what we're pretty much getting close to the data here.
The date.
Yeah.
Look, if
this data that you have here is pretty much the 2025 report, give or take a handful of deals, right?
Well, I'll tell you what I can do while you're talking. I can tell you how much is in pending. You want to pick a specific jurisdiction? You want to pick
Let's go Albemarle County.
Albemarle County.
That's the baseline.
We're going to stay in detached.
Yeah, go stay in detached, Albemarle County. Let's see what's in pending here. Because the point I'm trying to make here is we're pretty much getting to the point of having the data for 2025 right now. And I would say maybe on next Friday's edition of Real Talk with Keith Smith, you're doing one on the 21st of November, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Friday, November 21st edition of Real Talk with Keith Smith is going to be your data set for 2025.
Let's find out here for a second. We want to do Albemarle County or
Albemarle County, pending in Albemarle County.
Got it. Because that'll tell me. I haven't looked at that yet.
And then we will know, ladies and gentlemen, what the year 2025 looks like is the point I'm trying to make right here. And the 2025 data set right here shows me a cautious buyer pool. A buyer pool that's doing hurry up and wait.
Yeah, but that's hurry up and wait is for lots of reasons, right? It's hurry up and wait because the home that folks want to buy that hits the 6 things, right? There's not a lot of them, right? And they're waiting for interest rates to come down. But I can't do this and talk at the same time. So I'm going to let you.
I'll give some love to Intrastate Service Company, a home's best friend. Intrastate Service Company is family owned and operated ISC. We personally have used ISC before purchases and post purchases for multiple mold remediation consultations. Greg Wells and that team at Intrastate Service Company are class people. The whole Wells family is class. I sincerely mean this. Know that family well. They are as classy as it gets. I have viewers and listeners that have questions that we're going to get to here momentarily. Keith currently is searching how many homes in Albemarle County are under pending status right now. And these homes that are under pending status probably will have a decent chance of closing in 2025.
Got 161.
161 are pending. Okay. So that right there is a good sample size. Jeff Gaffney, I'm going to get to your comment here in a matter of moments. We should get Jeff back on the show.
Sure. Always welcome.
161 that are pending in Albemarle.
Yeah, so I don't have the close dates on this, but of the 161, the median price is $839. Now that's we don't know when it's going to close, right? That's just a pending number on it. Won't know until we close. But at the moment, in Albemarle County, new construction and existing, there's 161 in the pending status. Some of them will drop off and not actually close. Some of them may close and maybe set up to close in 2026. But for the most part, you can probably expect a large percentage of them to close at this point before
the close of business 2025.
Yeah.
Jeff Gaffney, CEO, Real Estate 3's got comments for you.
Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
There's a ton of pent-up demand that owns a home with a 2% mortgage that is still waiting for rates to come down. A ton of pent-up demand.
Yeah.
He says high 6% mortgage rates are not enough to entice the discretionary buyer, meaning someone who does not have to buy a house.
Yep.
There's a significant wave of relocation buying happening currently, however.
Yeah, and so Jeff is 100% right. So this is a weird market, right? Some parts of it's a buyer's market, some parts it's a seller's market. We've got headwinds that we've never seen before. 2% is one of them, right? Everybody says when we get below 6%, things are going to increase. I don't necessarily agree with that. I just think it's going to be more of the same because we just don't have the inventory to go ahead and for folks to buy that's at this right price point. But if I took a look at each one of the jurisdictions, again, I like using this sale to list ratio. I've got Albemarle's just slightly below 100%. Charlottesville, hold on a second here. I will tell you, I got a bunch of papers here I need to go ahead and get done. Its sale to list ratio is 99.21. Greene County sale to list ratio is just over 100% at 100.69. Nelson County sales to ratio is the lowest. That's at 97.699%.
And Jeff, you'll appreciate this. And guys, I would encourage you to go to Real Talk with Keith Smith. I would encourage you to go to Keith Smith's Facebook page. Look at the data he published today. I would encourage print, radio, and television that's watching this program to go to Keith Smith's Facebook page and look at the data he's presented today. In fact, I would encourage you to interview Keith Smith when it comes to...
Don't do that. I can't talk.
And it comes to data, ladies and gentlemen. Most homes sold by neighborhood. You want to let them know who it is? Jeff knows this.
Oh yeah, which jurisdiction do you want to look at?
Well, go with Albemarle County. I mean, Albemarle County is the baseline.
Well, it'd be Glenmore.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be Glenmore. Well,
and how many units?
that You're going to have to do that because that one I don't have in front of me.
You published it today.
I know I published it, but I don't have it in front of me to read it.
Yeah,
I don't remember all this stuff, silly goose.
I'll get to it here.
Yeah, got it. I'm actually looking at Charlottesville here real quick.
See, I read your stuff.
Yeah, but you read. Me retaining it's a different
read
story.
and retain here.
29 are pending in Charlottesville, just so that you know.
So HOA neighborhoods are still king, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Greene County, year to date, has got the most units sold.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, Glenmore, year to date, has got the most units sold by neighborhood. Well,
what you see when you go through that by neighborhood, you have this none. Right. Yeah. And so just to add a little context to that.
Is that the agent not categorizing the sale by neighborhood?
So I'm relying on, that's exactly right.
You're relying on the agents to check.
I'm relying what's in.
And you know what? When I'm looking at the MLS, there's so many listings that are not tied to the neighborhood they should be listed with.
And I wanted to quantify that, so thank you for bringing that up in that post. I just didn't have time to because this is a lot of work. I didn't have time to cross-reference actual street addresses to associate to subdivisions. If you kind of take a look at that multiple data, so I got like a spreadsheet of the 2 years of data. I know for a fact there's some streets in there that are in subdivisions that just never got marked off as subdivision.
And that does a disservice to your client, agents that are watching the program, not categorizing your listing by neighborhood. People like me are literally searching neighborhoods specifically. There's one that just went on the market. I'm not going to say who it is. It's got completely remodeled and put back on the market. That is not characterized. That is not categorized by neighborhood.
So you know who taught me about the importance of the MLS years and years ago? It was well, first of all, it was Mrs. Smith. Secondly, it was our friend Michael Guthrie. And thirdly, it was Greg Slater. And, the importance of filling out in your MLS data feed. Oh, that was a frown.
Yeah.
MLS data feed is so important because it is what everybody pulls off of. It's what appraisers pull off of. It's what, everything is now interconnected to Zillow.
I literally search neighborhoods.
Yeah. And if you were to look at my spreadsheet, and you would know some of these addresses are in neighborhoods or in subdivisions as I qualify it. But, I'm only can rely on what the data that's in the MLS. So agents out there, I know it's a PIA.
How's it a PIA?
It's just a lot of work.
Just click some fields.
It's a lot. Well, you've got to click some fields and you got to know, just to talk about Greg Slater again. He was this big a proponent of green designations, right? I know there's some houses I walk through that I know has green features in it that never showed up in the.
You're talking Pearl certification.
Well, it's Pearl, but there's a whole section within the MLS about green features, right? I'm just picking a wild one.
I also would encourage the agents to use the agent's notes section in more detail.
Yeah, here's the problem with that. You're talking about the public remarks?
No, the back end.
Yeah, okay.
Why isn't the back end used more? The agent notes portion.
So I'm going to get myself into huge trouble right now.
Okay.
Yes, please fill out all that information. I've just wrapped up today my 14th Piedmont Community Land Trust contract. It's the last of a tranche of 14. I got per listing anywhere between 20 to 30 phone calls from real estate agents. I can count on one hand how many actually read the MLS listing before they called me.
Yeah.
Right? I can count on one hand. So much so, I created a text.
A copy and paste text that you can send to people.
That
you saved in your notes section on your phone.
Literally what I do.
Yeah.
So if the agent calls me, before I even respond to the phone call, I send this thing because they happen to. Because here's what happens, particularly at that price point. right? What happens, Jerry? It hits the MLS.
People in a hurry.
Everybody,
like, oh my God, this is a deal.
Everybody gets, nobody reads, that no investors. I cannot tell you how many investor phone calls I get. And I go, dude, did you read the MLS listing? No. Okay, do me a favor. Read it. If it's not an investor, call me. We'd love to help your client get into permanent affordable housing. But I will tell you, a handful I can count on it. And so much so is when I have those conversations, I make sure that I send a handwritten note to them, telling them they're a rock star for actually doing their job.
Well, why? Okay, a follow-up question. And this is
so my point is, we're relying on all this data, right? It's important for us. It's important to go. It's important to get information out. We're talking about a subdivision thing that I know when I'm doing it is wrong, right?
Yeah.
But I got to use what I have.
A follow-up question for you.
And you know, you've got agents that don't read the MLS listing.
A follow-up question for you, and this is an insider's question, or people in the game question. Why on the back end is the notes portion of the listing so sparsely populated with notes so often?
I can't answer that. You know, there's another way you can do this, right? So the public comments and the agent comments, so that you know, are limited to 1,250 characters,
which is a lot.
It is a lot. We have all kinds of MLS rules we have to follow, all kinds of fair housing rules we have to follow. That said, in the MLS, there's a document tab that I could put a document in there and click it off of public, right? So I can write something in that and put in the agent notes, hey, agents, please read the document notes. There's X, Y, and Z, right? Because you only got 1,250 characters to work with on both sides of it. But you can say, hey, go look at it. So like on the listing, on the land trust listings, I have like HOA docs in the doc files. I have copies of leases, plain language leases. There's all kinds of documents that are in there that in the agent side, I just say, hey, go make sure you go look at it. Again, handful, literally handful, actually read them before they called me.
Jeff Gaffney, the new homes in Rivanna Village are practically sold out in a month.
Yeah.
The current section, one level living for $450,000.
Yep, flying off the shelf. Because they hit the market.
Jay Reeves does a good job in that neighborhood.
100%.
Jay Reeves, I think, lives in that neighborhood.
They
fantastic racket player, Jay Reeves.
It's the same reason why Colonial Circle is rock and rolling. It's the same reason why Greene County. Hold on a second here. I got the numbers. Greene County is rocking and rolling. You're up. What is your volume? You're up 19%. You've jumped up 19% year over year in volume, and it's all new construction. Greene County is, like, we've been talking about this forever. It will be the rock star. It's got 2,000 going on. This seat that hasn't been settled yet is going to be rather impactful for a long term, I think, on Greene County.
What do you make of the comment that came in on the sophisticated buyers are waiting to see what happens with big biotech publicly traded coming in here?
Well, look, sophisticated buyers are sophisticated buyers. They are not the largest.
Sophisticated sellers, excuse me.
It's okay, both sides, seller or buyers. You know, the pool of that isn't as big as I think folks think it is. The average buyer is buying and selling because of the diamonds, right? The 5 Ds. That said, it's interesting because it came up in the commission meeting last night. It's interesting, the pharmaceuticals that are coming in here, their tempo is increasing. The production to actually build the units and get jobs in here is upticking. You know, it usually was like 400 or 500 folks. Now it's up to 600 folks. The income's around 125. You know, I've asked the question, so where the hell are these people going to live? We've asked it, you and I. Where the hell are they going to live? And that's just one little small slice of what's really starting.
We know where they're going to live.
There's not enough volume. There's not enough volume that's going to trade. We just had a conversation about sophisticated sellers maybe holding on and not selling Where in God's holy name are they going to live? And who are they going to push out?
Well, we know who they're going to push it,
right?
Put it out too.
Right. And so where is all this going to go? Where are they going to? It's just, maybe I'm got not enough Batman vibe going on at the moment. But
well, my prediction is they're going to live in Western Albemarle, Ivy to Western Albemarle.
They're not. There's not enough volume.
They're
of sales.
going to have their agents door knock folks that live over there, even if the listing is not active. They're going to try to buy, then when they try to buy in Ivy, Western Albemarle, they're then going to take the middle and upper middle class and push them out into another area of Albemarle County, which is then going to push out that buyer in Albemarle County into an outer county, and it's going to have a complete significant domino effect.
That market might be on a great 10% of that 600 might cover that. They might be able to move over that. There might be products out there that for them to buy, but they're going to be pushing to the outer bands, to your point. But the question is $125,000.
$125,000 is the average income for the 650 workers at AstraZeneca, and does not include a husband or wife or partner's income as well. So that 125 there is the median family household income for the area, and it doesn't even include a spouse working. These people are going to be well above median family household income.
And where are they going to go, Coach?
I
Right.
highlighted where they're going to go.
Well, is a $200,000 to $300,000 income going to go to Lake Monticello?
No.
They're going to go to Greene County?
No.
Okay, where are they going to go?
They're going to go between Lewis Mountain and Crozet.
But there's no volume there. There's not 600 units to trade.
I give you that, but they're going to do their best to try to get there first.
100%. Yeah, they're going to go do that.
Because a lot of these have kids, and they're going to miss the boat for the private school admission.
Yeah, well,
the boat for the private school admission is January?
Yeah, you're trying to time when they're going to actually be moving in.
We're making decisions on third grade now and right now.
Yeah, got it. Yeah. Again, we'll go ahead and do that. So I do, before we run out of time here, NAR published its numbers, right? We've been talking about this for a while. It published it on the 4th.
First-time home buyer, average age?
40.
Yeah. You called that.
That's up 2 years.
You predicted that.
Right? So we called that a little while ago. Only 21% of all the buyers in this report were first-time home buyers. It's interesting that the down payment has jumped up a little bit. Remember, we've been talking about a lower number. It's the highest down payment at 10%. These are average numbers since '89. The other thing that's interesting is people are staying to the conversation we're having. People are staying in their homes longer. They're 10 years around 11 years.
The average person stays in their home now 11 years?
Yep.
That used to be 7 before the pandemic.
That's exactly right. So to your point, and to my point, where I think people are just going to stay put, and I don't know where you're right, the people that get in first to the Western Albemarle market, because let's face it, because that's where they want to send their kids to school, if they can get something, they're going to get it. And usually what happens with these things, as you well know, the higher end executives are the first ones that
first to market.
First that jump in.
Yeah, cherry pick the choice homes.
Yeah, and these are going to be people with multiple six figures.
Yeah.
Right.
I've been told that there's people coming in of the 650 by literally people that would know that there's a lot of people that are in the 7-figure range coming here.
And so they're going to be coming in now. Right, because they're going to either get bonuses from the company, they're going to have relocate packages from it. So they're going to eat up whatever that percentage is that Western Albemarle can absorb, right? And they're going to do it quickly. The rest of them, they're going to be all these pressures on these outlining counties, right? And they might end up going, look, I'm going to buy in Greene County at $450 just because I need a place to live, and then start pivoting and going into resale. But it's very interesting. 40. I don't know. I've been noodling what the long-term impact of it. How old when you bought your first house?
20s. You don't want to know.
I was in my 20s.
I was like 23.
Yeah, so I was 24.
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Still got that house.
10 years ago, this number was 30.
Yeah.
Right. Back in the 80s, it was around 30, low 20s and 30s. 40 years is a huge number. So anyway,
I think you're doing a hell of a job with the data.
Yeah. Well, I just like having fun.
I think you're doing a hell of a job with the data. Dude, you legitimately, not just agents, but brokers all over the feed right now.
And I want them to push back, right? So this is, to your point.
You're doing a great job.
This is Keith's world, right? And my brain only lives in it. So I look at these numbers from a practitioner's perspective, right? Okay, so if I got a buyer who wants to buy or sell, this is what's happening in this market. And why I love what we do on the show is this pushback, right? And I love what we do, because I needed to go, well, hold it. Why the hell is, from a numbers perspective and from a real estate market perspective, why is Charlottesville down as now 4 points? And Woody was right. That was the difference. The volume of sales, the higher volume of sales just was not in 2025 versus 2024. Now, the why, you're probably right. Why? Sophisticated buyers sitting tight. Why? I got 2% or I own it in cash. Excuse me. Why? You know what? I'm buying a second home in wherever. So it's a lot of whys behind it. But the reason that number is negative is it's specifically to a specific property type and volume price point that didn't happen in 25 that happened in 24.
Keith Smith, weekend plans.
I am taking my Ravenna out for a News dinner. And then on Saturday, Houston and I are riding a 100-kilometer bike ride to raise money for suicide prevention amongst
You're a
vets.
good man. Good man, Charlie Brown.
Vets, yep. We're going to do that in Jamestown and go up the Cap Trail and turn around and come back and raise money. We're coming up on Veterans Day soon, folks. Marine Corps birthday's on Monday.
Yes Realty Partners. How's Yes Realty Partners doing?
We're doing great. Really, I mean, I don't mean to be flippant about it, but we're doing well. We just stick to the basics and be pros and show up. We're doing very well. We're very blessed. Very blessed.
Keith Smith, you crushed it today.
Thank you.
Yes Realty Partners, Keith Smith.
Coffee kicked in.
Keith and Yonna Smith and the team at Yes Realty Partners, trusted people in the game we call real estate, getting you to the closing table and beyond. Yes Realty Partners. Judah Wickower behind the camera. Today was a fantastic show. We appreciate the engagement, the viewership, and the listenership on what is the water cooler of real estate in Charlottesville, Albemarle, and Central Virginia, Real Talk with Keith Smith. Visit the website, Real Talk with Keith Smith, realtalkwithkeithsmith.com, realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. Click the Partners tabs. These are the personally vetted businesses in real estate that you can trust, that Keith's used since 1987. realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. It's also where the show is archived, along with ilovecville.com. The I Love CVille show at 12:30 p.m., guys. It's going to be a doozy.
Keep an eye on Greene County election. I think this is going to be impactful for those who are geeking out on housing. Keep an eye on it.
Keith Smith, good work.
Thank you,
Judah
sir.
Wickower, good work.
Thank you.
So long, everybody. Good job.
Yeah.